Alright, in this section I'm going to show you guys another example. Again, this kind of, just to kind of continue to introduce you guys to hybrid coverage. So, what I really like for his bunch in Madden 21 is match coverage. And that's because outside quarters and outside thirds in this Madden are extremely bad. So as you will see in the previous section, the corner routes do not get played by outside quarters and outside thirds. They just kind of sit there and watch the corner route go by. So again, the benefits of match is these corner routes will get matched. Well, and yeah, so they actually get played and matched. So again, that's why a lot of people like to mix in match versus bunch in Madden 21. The problem is, especially when you're playing at a high level, counters will be found. So again, this is one of the popular setups on defense on a match. And again, it's because it does a really good job of taking away these pesky corner routes that get open versus every stock coverage. And again, people deep half because if you just quick snap flood, that B fade will get open and beat stock match like this deep. So people will deep half. The problem with this is, again, people are going to adjust throughout the year. They're going to find counters. So again, the problem with this match setup on defense is that all that people have to do is they just motion out an out route and let it set, and the outside quarter will match to this to this out route, and so will the quarter flat, and it's going to leave the corner out wide open. So again, we're kind of back to square one now, where every base coverage, including match coverage, is going to get beat by this corner out. So we really have to go and user it, or kind of hope our zone drops on 30 will play that. So again, this is where we had to start problem solving, thinking outside the box. So, I said to myself, I was like, okay, I really like match coverage. Again, it does a really good job of taking away the corner routes. So, as we mentioned in the previous section, a lot of times you got to start to think, okay, how can I enhance this base coverage? How can I make it better? And again, this is where we start utilizing hybrid coverage. So I started doing this, and again, I always man up the tight end, because for any like crossing routes or anything like that, and also when you man up the tight end, it helps the quarter flat. The quarter flat that's what makes the quarter flat match to this corner route a lot of times. So that's why I man up the tight end. It helps the quarter flat tremendously in coverage. So so my kind of counter to this was I started messing around with different coverage adjustments. So another coverage adjustment that's really, or another play that's really good versus match coverage is a play like this. So this ended up being a really, this ended up being a really popular match beater. And again, unfortunately, I cannot show it in practice mode, because in practice mode it's played a little bit differently. But I'm thinking of showing like a little film study on this part. And so basically what happens though is this outside quarter will basically freeze up and allow the corner to get open deep late. So again, there is two issues with match. So again, this B corner out was forcing my outside quarter to freeze, and if they motion out an out route, that's going to get the corner route wide open. So I had to think to myself, how can I go about preventing this? So I said, okay, if this corner route's going to make my outside quarter freeze, what happens if I man this corner route up? Will that prevent that corner route from getting open? And the answer is yes. Again, it took me a couple hours of playing around with this, and trying to think outside the box. I was like, okay, match is a good start. It's like, okay, now it's like, how do I enhance it? Again, I started messing around with hybrid coverage. I started manning up a couple of people, and this ended up being a really good solution. And now watch what happens when I motion out B. And kind of my theory for it is since I have B manned up now, the quarter flat says, okay, there's a guy manned up to B. Now let me take the other guy. So that's kind of my thought process on how that works. And as you guys saw before, when I motioned out that out route, he was manning up there was two people manning up to the out route. But I believe what's happening now is the CPU says okay, or yeah, so the CPU says okay, you know, B is manned up. The quarterfinal says okay, that's perfect. You know, I don't have to worry about that guy. This is what I imagine happened. So again, he's manned up. The quarterfinal says okay, I don't have to guard that guy anymore, and he's gonna man up to the corner route now. Again, this was just from kind of playing around with, you know, hybrid coverage and, you know, exploring different possibilities on defense. And again, I was able to find the setup to kind of counter this. Again, I mainly started doing this the man up B, because again, for that pesky corner route that was freezing my outside quarter and was getting open late. So I was like, okay, I definitely got to have B man up for the corner route, and I ended up playing the corner route, and ended up countering this other setup, the Z spot setup. Again, I wasn't expecting it to work versus this, but it did end up working versus, because again, I'm guessing, again, B's manned up, so again, the quarterfinal now matches to, you know, Z spot. So again, I went into a game with this, and it was actually really, really effective. And again, I was just mainly running match and defense too with this setup, because again, the main setups at a bunch now were kind of taken away. You know, people weren't able to just run the Z spot motion out route or the other play that kind of glitched out the outside quarter with the B corner route. So, and I'll show you guys real quick why people always deep half, or why most people will deep half. So I believe this is how they do it. So usually, oh, okay, so no, it's all right. So now I'll kind of explain to you guys why most people deep half out of this match. So if someone sets it up like this,